Hello.
Hey there. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
I hope you don't mind. I'm having some afternoon coffee because it's gray and cold here in Chicago.
I'm in northern Alberta, and it has been gray and cold all summer. So good for you that you're having coffee.
Oh, well, see, now I can't even impress you with how cold it gets here in Chicago. Because
snow in the mountains. So yeah, no.
So I wanted to tell everyone who's listening that Sherisse is an expert on Pinterest and Pinterest marketing. And so, Sherisse, take a minute and just kind of explain a little bit about yourself, what you do, and all of that.
Okay, so I am Sherisse. I am a Pinterest expert. And what I do is I help people who have funnels that convert, who are tired of the social media garbage, to move that over onto Pinterest as a platform instead of chasing leads on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn and all the other places.
Interesting. So I have all those things too, and it's crazy.
It is crazy to manage it. Yeah. And you end up needing a team just to manage your social media.
And we have those.
Pinterest is like an hour a month.
I already don't like you very much right now. I'm rethinking this whole guest thing because obviously I'm working way harder than I'm supposed to.
Well, there is a place for doing all of that other stuff as well. But Pinterest can really juice your numbers quite substantially. Now, a lot of people think that Pinterest is actually a social media platform, but it's not. It's a search engine.
Is it really? I didn't know that. I just thought it was like another. So I tell my husband, I was like, why do we have to have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and even Pinterest? Don't they all do the same thing? I mean, I post photos on Facebook. I post photos on Instagram. I don't post too many photos on Twitter, And then our daughter told me one time, I said, I think I'm getting the hang of Facebook. Because she goes, Dad, Facebook is for old people. So you should be on Snapchat or TikTok. And I was like, no, I just, no, just no. And I'm not doing the dance either that you see everybody doing.
Oh, me neither. So yeah, Pinterest is actually the third largest search engine in the world after the two Google ones. After Google itself and YouTube, then Pinterest is the third largest search engine in the world. I like to think of Pinterest as if Instagram and Amazon and Google had a baby. That's what Pinterest would be. So it's a visual search engine that drives sales.
Interesting. What about content? Does it I don't know how much Nick told you about me, but I'm a publisher. So I own several publications across the country. And, right now that is under assault as this new digital age is flexing its muscle. But the one thing I always wondered is we have so many photos in all of our publications. So that's what kind of piqued me. I never really thought about Pinterest. I don't even think we use Pinterest. But I got to ask you a question because I saw that YouTube channel from the funnel guy. And then I read the comments and I agreed with the comments in the YouTube channel. And all of them said, well, this is great, but what is a funnel? I still don't know what a funnel is. And so when you use that term, what is a funnel?
Okay, so a funnel is where you bring in cold traffic, people who've never heard of you before, and you slowly warm them up and you get them to buy something that's maybe it's a free thing and they're just buying it with their email address, or maybe it's a low dollar, under $50 paid thing. And they're giving you their email address, and then you are upselling them into your higher priced things. And then once they're in that web I hate to use web, but once they're in that place, usually they will keep buying from you over and over and over again. So a funnel, think of a funnel as an actual funnel, like, an oil change funnel. And so the top layer is like everybody in the whole world. And then the next layer is all the people that are curious about you because they saw you somewhere. And then the next layer is the people who did that first step with you. They bought the thing, or they signed up for the thing, or they're taking the free challenge, or they're downloading that PDF, or whatever it is. Maybe they're even just reading a blog article about you. Then
so Pinterest is more than just pictures?
Yes. Well, it is a visual search engine. So Pinterest is where you would show people pictures of your thing, or
like if it's an article, right?
A picture for the article with some words on it, maybe that are eye-catching, like a hook or some kind, with a great headline, a little blurb about what it is they're going to get if they click. It's basically ad copy. Think of every pin as an ad. And then the link to go do the thing.
Wow. I swear I never knew any of that about Pinterest. I didn't think I thought, what are we going to talk about Pinterest? It's just another social media thing. I already know how to use the basics. And now I feel stupid because I was like, I totally misunderstood what the show's about. So now I'm kind of curious and a little bit excited, which is not easy to get out of me.
Congratulations. Welcome to Pinterest. You're going to be addicted.
I totally want to try it now.
I know. Okay, so I've got a couple of tips. Okay.
I'm writing. Listen, that's another thing I don't normally, but I'm taking like copious notes.
Okay, so before I do that, though, I want to numbers nerd you a little bit.
Okay.
There are 70 million active users on Pinterest. Okay. 66% of them are women who are aged from 25 to 55. 40% of them have a household income over 100,000. They are 90% or something like that in the US. And I think it's 70% have a university education. Pretty big numbers. That's exactly who almost everybody wants to talk to. I mean, unless you are doing some kind of business to business thing where it's dudes, everything else is run by, let's be honest here, women make all the financial decisions for the household.
That is so true. The funny part about that is I'm looking at this is that it's really concentrated in the United States heavily.
It is.
Which is interesting.
Yes. So they also spend almost 2 hours a month on average on Pinterest.
2+ hours monthly.
And the crazy thing, out of those 70 million users, there are less than 500,000 business accounts.
That's interesting.
And of those 500,000 business accounts, as a Pinterest manager, I can tell you right now, the vast majority of them, their Pinterest accounts suck, and they're not getting the traction that they should be getting. So the world is your oyster when it comes to Pinterest.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I wrote down all those statistics. So now that you've piqued my interest, right? So I'm just thinking, like, how would, using as an example, using my podcast, right?
Okay, yeah.
Let's just use that if I wanted to promote it on Pinterest. So we have all these photos and we have these graphics and the logos and we have, ads, that we run. So how would I use that? How would I use Pinterest for that?
Okay. So basically, for what I would recommend is doing some keyword research to start so that you've got 20 or 30 keywords that you're catching. Probably they are going to be the same keywords that you use for Google And then you would go check them on Pinterest to make sure that they're still pulling the kind of results that you want them to pull. And if not, then kind of hunting around to find something else. Okay. Once you've got that, then you need to create 10 boards using those 20 keywords. So
what is the board?
Okay. So think of Pinterest.
Just remember, I just want to tell you, I know nothing about Pinterest. I'm a sponge right now.
Okay. So think of Pinterest as a bunch of virtual cork boards. You know how when you were a kid, you had cork boards and you put pictures up on the cork board?
Yep.
Yes. So think of them like that. They are vision boards for women. We're big on vision boards right now, and it's all because of Pinterest. So think of them as digital visual scrapbook boards, okay? So each board for your business account is related to a couple of those keywords that you always talk about, that are your things that your audience look for, that relate to your business. So all of those boards, and I recommend that my clients start with 10 and then bump, one every 6 months or so, just to kind of keep growing a little bit, give yourself more places to play with things. So all of those boards are related to almost all of your content. There might be some where you're like, I don't really want to put that one there. That one would fit better there, that kind of thing. But for the most part, almost all of your content could go on all 10 boards.
And when you say content, are you speaking specifically about photos?
Okay. This is where it gets a little crazy. Okay. What I recommend doing once you've got those 10 boards is that you...
Okay, can I stop you right here? So that I just want to make sure that I follow you, because I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not very tech savvy. So that's why I have, I take all my notes on a legal pad still, even though I have every technology you can imagine.
I'm a paper gal too. I get it. We're of that age, aren't we?
Yeah. And so, I have all these fancy things like the sticky notes and everything, and I try them and I put all the stuff on there that I want to manage, and then I forget they're on my computer and I use a legal pad. So I want to understand, when you say a board,
yes.
How would you describe a board to someone like me?
Okay. Each board is its own cork board.
Okay. So it's like a cork board of your interest, or a cork board of something that interests you?
In your case, for your business, for example, you have podcasts, right? Like you've got, and you do a couple of different niches, right?
Yes.
Okay. So say, for example, you have one board that is, I call it your master board, where it is just the DJ Doran Show, right? Then you have another board that is for tech podcasts. You have another board that is for, maybe you mentioned you also have books and things. So maybe it's for tech books and articles. Or maybe
I'm a pilot, a retired Air Force pilot. So let's say the one for aviation. So would that be all under the
only if aviation was part of your brand. Got
it. Okay. So then let me read back what I understand. So the DJ Doran Show is a show about a perspicacious guy, me, over 60, who talks about whatever interests me. And so like I've done shows on Bigfoot, on alien abductions and UFOs, on politics and current events, on social media addiction and all of that. So each one of those topics would be a board underneath my brand?
Could be a board, or you might want to do it a little bit less specific like that, where you're doing like, I'm just spitballing here off the top of my head.
I haven't heard that in years, but that is a total generational comment.
It absolutely is. Okay, so maybe you have one board that is for tech stuff, and one board that is for human interest stuff, and one board that is
gotcha. So more, I gotcha. So not specific to a thought, but a topic, like a interest. So like a human interest could be UFOs, Bigfoot, social media stuff and blah, 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 blah. Tech could be how to use the iPhone 11 Pro Max that I still don't know how to use, or stuff like that where I could talk about that. I get it. Okay, so now I understand the concept of it.
Yes. Okay, so you've got the boards and you've got them and they're laid out so that you're using your keywords on them for your business, the things that you are trying to drive traffic for. And they're somewhat related enough that you could maybe put, like your tech people could also be in human interest, or could also be in business building, or could also be in something else.
Okay. By the way, I'm so excited. I want to do it right now.
I know everybody's like that. I do have a program that I teach people how to do that. So just saying that.
Okay.
Okay. So once you've done that, you go over to Canva or Adobe or wherever, and you create 20 templates for pins. Now there are pre-built ones that you can then make your own in these softwares.
Okay.
And then once you've done that, you use those templates, those 20 templates, for every piece of content that you want to put out. And you just do minor tweaks to the pictures and the words on each one.
Why do you have to have 20?
Here's the magic of it. Once you've got 20 pins and you got 10 boards, and hopefully you can pin to most of those boards.
No, hold on. I'm just confused. 20 pins or 20 templates?
20 templates that gives you 20 pins.
Oh, so a template is a pin?
Yes.
What? Okay. You'll get sick of me by the end of the show, but I want to understand, because I always thought a pin. I don't know what I thought. I don't even know what the hell a pin is.
Okay, so a pin is the picture, which generally has not just the actual picture on it, but it's got some graphics and some branding stuff and some other stuff on it.
And you call that a pin?
That is the pin graphic.
Okay.
And that's the template that we're making.
Okay.
Where the words are going to be laid out and where the picture is going to go, and then you can tweak the colors and you can tweak other stuff, but the basics of it are the same every time. Okay. And then when you upload it, then you've got a pin headline, which is like your call to action or your tagline.
Sure.
This, it's your hook, right? Okay. And then you've got the body, which is the description, which is your ad copy. Basically, consider every single pin to be an ad.
Okay. So, and pins go on your board, right?
Yes, the pins go on your board. So, and then the pin also includes a link to wherever you want to send them. Now, you don't have to send them to your website. You can send them to anywhere. So it's great for affiliates. It's great for people who have Facebook groups. It's great for YouTube videos. It's great for bloggers. It's great for people who are interviewed a lot or do a lot of articles for third-party thing, like authors. You can send them anywhere.
I love that idea, because I'm thinking of like one of my publications. You know, we have almost 100 articles in every publication. That they could be 100 pins, all linking them back to the publication website. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
100 articles with 20 pins each is, isn't that like 2,000?
Oh, yes. That's right. That's a lot.
And they're going to 10 boards. So 20 times, or 2,000 times 10 is
20,000.
20,000 opportunities for that content to be seen and for them to enter your funnel.
Why didn't I know about this? And I don't know if you can see. I don't know, Sherisse. I don't know if you can see Nick's smirking face over there. He's smirking because he's like, oh, he knows that there's a light bulb above my head right now. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't know anything about this. This is one of those topics where I really thought something one way. And now I feel like I just want to absorb everything you're telling me. And I want to try it. And I have so much stuff to put out there. It's probably exponentially, it's interesting. Okay, absolutely. So now I understand. I'm trying to understand the nomenclature, you know, like, because I want to understand because
Absolutely.
I didn't understand what a pin was. I thought a pin was like when you put something up, then you pinned it, and it was like a virtual pin. But so I was like,
kind of is, but kind of not.
Okay, but I think you explained it. Now I understand what it is. So now you put that up there, right?
Yes.
And then you have 10 boards.
Yeah.
And you have 20 pins.
Mm-hmm.
Even at my age, so you can teach an old dog new tricks. You have 20 pins.
Yeah.
So now, how do people see it? Do they have to follow you, or is it in like a general area?
Both. So they can follow you, and then they'll see you first in the feed, or it can be just randomly shown in their random feed. There's a couple of different feeds in Pinterest. There's your personal feed, and then there's the general, gee, what else would you be interested in? Which isn't people you're already following, but people you might be interested in. Kind of like YouTube and your subscriptions, and then the general like homepage.
Sure. Yep.
And then there's also the ability to search in there. And a lot of people do use the search function.
Got it. Okay. So now continue to walk me through. So as we're going through this, and please understand that I know nothing. So that's where I want you to start from, is like, I have no savvy when it comes to Pinterest. I always knew it was there, but I was like, I thought it was just like a picture book.
Absolutely. So many people do. So once you put your pins out there, okay, then you're hoping for one of two things. There's a bunch of other things that Pinterest measures that are just vanity metrics. I really don't care. I care about how many saves a pin gets, which is people sharing it to their audiences. And I care about how many clicks I get, which is people taking the action that the ad was written to make them take.
Say the last part again, please.
Link clicks are people taking the action that the pin, which is an ad, was written to make them take.
Okay, so that is the call to action to see if they took that action.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct. Now, the reshares are great because when someone reshares your content to someone else, to their audience, then that tells Pinterest that it's important enough for somebody to have saved it. And the more it's saved, the more it gets shown to random strangers in the general feed. And the more it gets shown to random strangers in the general feed that might be interested in it, the more it gets saved by them and clicked on by them and all of those things. That is the goal. You want a pin to go viral. And that is something that no others, we'll call it social media or search engine does, is that ability for something to organically go viral because people are just simply saving it to their feed. They're not having to do anything else for it. They don't have to write anything. They don't have to, have it live on their Facebook forever. They don't have to tag people on it. It just automatically kind of gets shown to more and more people.
So you don't have to tag anyone. There's no hashtags or anything like that. You just post it.
You should use a couple of hashtags. Number one, you should use your brand hashtag if you have one.
We do.
And I recommend that everyone should have a brand hashtag. And then you should use one or two other hashtags that relate to the topic. And hashtags are becoming more important when it comes to Pinterest. That's a whole other conversation. I do have a whole YouTube video about that over on my YouTube channel because it's a big topic to talk about what hashtags are and how they work.
Someone once explained it to me that a hashtag is like the old library card catalogs.
Okay, on Pinterest, the Cliff Notes is on Pinterest. If they do it just as a general search for the term technology or the newest iPhone, whatever the newest iPhone is, if they just do a general search for the newest iPhone, they will get the most popular pins first. If they use the hashtag, they will get the newest, the most recent pins first.
Got it.
So that's the difference.
Okay, got it. So hashtag is the newest, and the most fresh, and searching is going to be the most popular.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the newest and most fresh might be of interest to you, and it might be terrible pins that you don't want to click on because, most of those 500,000 business accounts are not using their Pinterest, right?
Got it. I got it. I totally understand. You explained it very well. I get that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just walk through this. So like the DJ Doran Show, I create my 10 boards. And of those 10 boards, I just pick out the categories. I'll use it like that. So
yes,
current events and politics, or whatever else I want to do. And then on those boards, I would pin photos or ads or content that is specific to that category.
Correct.
Am I following along right?
Yes.
So far? Okay. So, so let's say my brand is about current events and politics. It's about everything. My show is about everything. So it can be like, I talk about flying because in a couple of years, I'm going to fly a World War II DC-3 around the world.
That's awesome.
It'll be awesome. Totally. I'm looking forward to it. If I don't kill myself in the process, but that's a whole other show. That's the show I could do is like, what happens after you die? I'm not in a hurry to find out for sure, but I want to know other people's experiences.
It's funny you should mention that because I actually, one of my little side gigs is doing past life regression for people. So there you go.
Oh no. You'll be watching this recording and you're like, huh. But the other part of that is I can take those categories and I can say, okay, underneath my show, I could talk. The name of the project is called Pride Flight. I could put a board called Pride Flight. I could put a board called latest. Let's say one of the magazines I own in Arizona is called Echo Magazine. So I could put Echo, and I could just do boards for each one of these assets, and then post pins about that asset or that topic or that under that category in there. Now, the question I'm going to ask is, if I do that, explain to me how it ties into my overall brand, the DJ Doran Show.
Well, that is up to you to decide. If you want to create one big overarching brand that does all of it, then that works. And if you want to do, maybe you want to just have one Pinterest account that is specifically for this, and this when it comes to your radio show. And maybe you want to have another Pinterest account that does this, and this when it comes to your radio show. And maybe you want to have another one that deals with politics and another one that deals with flying. And I mean, the sky's the limit, really, when it comes to...
I appreciate that. Let me ask you even further question while I'm thinking about it. What is the benefit? What is the benefit or the drawback of doing one or the other? Is it more beneficial to have one brand and a lot of boards underneath that one brand, or to have separate accounts for each category? Because that seems like I would have 100 categories or more. I can't even remember where my damn reading glasses were, let alone how to log into 20 different Pinterest accounts.
Yeah. That is one of the big drawbacks, is that you are, spreading yourself very thin, but you're going very deep on each topic that you're talking about on each account. That is kind of the drawback and the benefit to going separate for each of them. The benefit for doing it as one big overarching umbrella and then having lots of boards that are kind of random and whatever is that people can pick and choose which boards they want to follow. They don't have to follow all of your boards. So the people who are really interested in flying could just follow your flying board and not any of the other boards.
Are you limited to 20 boards?
No, you can have as many boards as you want.
Okay, I was just curious.
He's nodding because I think he knows a little bit more than you do about Pinterest.
First of all, Sherisse, that hurt. And second of all, it's true, which is why it hurt. And third of all, I totally get it. I'm just teasing you, but it is true. And Nick I could see him smirking. I'm trying not to look at his picture, and I'm trying to stare at you. But the truth of it is I didn't really know anything about this medium. It's fascinating to me. I didn't even know Pinterest was a search engine. To me, that was enlightening.
Yeah, almost everybody, before they first start in Pinterest, has that misconception that it's this social media thing and that they just need to get followers and they need to engage with their followers. And I'm like, there's really no engagement possible in Pinterest. I mean, I think there's a way to comment on pins, but nobody ever does. So it's really just about
sharing photos and
sharing photos.
Content. Yeah. And I like that idea because I don't really want to hear comments from people. You know, I see enough of that on Facebook and Twitter, especially lately. So I want to ask a couple of questions if I can.
Of course.
One is, why do you consider Pinterest, or why would someone consider Pinterest the new Wild West of online marketing?
I think we just covered it all.
That's it? That would be it?
It's like there's almost no one doing it. Very few people are doing it well. And it's kind of a free-for-all. Like aside from it needs to be family friendly, there really aren't any rules around. Now that might change, but right now there really aren't any rules about what you can say. You know how on Facebook, especially when you're doing paid ads, shoot me now, you can't talk about the person. You can talk about you all day long, but you can't talk about the other person. You can't point at their pain. They really don't like that, even in a post. They don't really like it if you really point at their pain really hard. It tends to get less reach. Pinterest doesn't really have those limitations for you. So you're able to be a lot more specific when it comes to, please raise your hand because this is you. Now, you don't want to off-put people, but you definitely have a lot more flexibility. It's like Pinterest, or it's like Facebook was like 8 or 10 years ago when you could get away with saying the word you in an ad. Now you can't say you.
Yes.
Blows my mind.
It is. But so it's true. So, so when, in my notes, Andrew wrote, why most new coaches fail. And one of the reasons was futzing with their avatar instead of making an offer of seeing who wants it. So explain what that means.
Yes. So I find that thank you for saying this, because this is one of my pet peeves. I find that a lot of, especially new coaches or new service providers or anybody that's in the online space, they're told by their coach, and it's a little less now, but I still hear it too much. They're told by their coaches, by their teachers, you need to know what your ideal client drinks in the morning for breakfast. You need to know what kind of car they drive. You need to be in them. Name this woman or name this man. And once you've named them, give them all these personality traits and hair color and how many kids they've got and if they've got a dog or a cat. And who cares? Who cares? Stop futzing with that stuff. Make a list of all the pain points that they have right now. Those are the only things that actually matter when it comes to your avatar. Make a list of all the things that they want as outcomes. Their dream life. What does it include? List all the ways that you help them.
Okay, you lost me a little bit. So I think of avatar when I read that, I thought like your profile picture. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about their avatar, their client avatar.
So it's not a picture?
Shouldn't be a picture. If you have a picture, oh my God. There was a coach a couple years ago that was actually...
I told you I know nothing about Pinterest.
Was actually telling her clients who were in business coaches that they needed to have a picture. Like they needed to find a random picture on the internet of who their ideal client was, and that they needed to use that picture as they needed to put it on the desk beside them, and anything that they wrote or anything that they said or anything needed to be pointed at her because she had all of these attributes. Why? It's not important. None of that is important.
So what is an avatar? What is it? What is it? Maybe I thought it was like your profile picture. And Nick, I don't really need that judgment from that smirk that you have. And by the way, you look like. By the way, I have to say this: you look like Bette Midler when you do that. And I love her, by the way. That is a huge compliment.
So your client avatar, it's the client avatar. It's not your avatar. So your client avatar is also, you can call it your ideal client. In a lot of cases,
it's basically a profile of who you're targeting.
A profile of who you're targeting. And
okay.
Stop profiling them. The only things that you care about are what is hurting them right now.
When you say hurting them, can you explain what that means?
Okay, so for example, if you are a relationship coach and they are fighting with their partner all the time and they're not having sex and they're not communicating and they want to get a divorce, or their partner wants a divorce, or one of them's really close to cheating.
Okay.
Maybe. And their ideal outcome is they make it to their 50th golden wedding anniversary and they're still as in love as they were when they were younger. And they can't imagine not being around each other. And they do the whole, and I'm the worst woman ever. That whole movie with James Garner and What's Her Pickle, where
Murphy's Romance?
No, where they died within minutes of each other. And it had Ryan Gosling in it too, where they died.
Oh, The Notebook?
On the gurney.
I don't know.
Anyways.
I don't know.
The women in the group will all know me and they will all judge me for not being able to remember the name of the movie. Rachel McAdam was in it. There was a whole crazy cast.
You lost me. I'm sorry. I'm a movie buff, but I don't know what that is. Is that the one where Ryan Gosling is kissing her in the rain that you always see?
Yes.
Oh, I know that. I know the scene.
The Notebook?
Is it The Notebook?
Yes.
The Notebook. Okay, got it.
Yes. Okay, so that's what their dream is. They want that kind of love.
Okay, but let me so I understand. So because I've never been on Pinterest, believe it or not. So is Pinterest like if I had a Pinterest, would I put on there what I want? Like what I want, who I want to reach, or who I don't understand the concept of the avatar of the whole thing. Should I go to Pinterest and see if maybe that might help me?
Well, so if you were in that sucky relationship,
right?
You're looking for how do I talk to my husband better, or how do I get
put that? You create a board that says that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have content like posts, blog posts, or YouTube videos, or freebies, or a book, or something that helps them deal with that in a kind of a rudimentary way.
But what I don't understand, Sherisse, I'm sorry to sound stupid, but what I don't understand is if, let's say I'm that person, right? Mm-hmm. I'm that person, and my relationship sucks, and I'm this and that and whatever. Do I go to Pinterest and I create a board seeking advice? Because I guess that's where I'm confused. Like, I don't understand. No. But if I'm a relationship coach, right? I have my stuff together and I want to share it with Nick, right? Mm-hmm. Who has all sorts of screwed up stuff. And so, then do I say, hey, if any of you are seeking advice about this or that or whatever else I want that my expertise is, I put that on my board. And then other people will see it. I just want to understand how it works.
Yeah. So what you're doing as the expert is you are writing content that speaks to their pain points and speaks to their ideal outcomes. Are you fighting with your husband a lot?
When you say pain points, are you speaking to a specific person, or are you saying, hey, I'm a relationship counselor and I specialize in relationships that have these issues? And then you post about that? That's why I'm not sure what.
Well, generally, for example, if you are a relationship coach and you specifically deal with communication, that's your big thing where you talk about the ability to communicate with your spouse and all the ways that makes it better. And maybe you're even a psychologist or something like that. And so you have written a series of blog posts with some quick hit wins for people if they take action on and do the steps that you point out for them.
Okay, got it.
So you've got these beautiful blog posts. Nobody's seeing them because, it's Google. Google doesn't really share things too much unless you really are, really putting it out there.
Sure.
So they're getting a little bit of traffic, but not much. And you could spend all your time on Facebook, posting and posting and posting and posting, and Instagram posting and posting and posting and posting. Or you could do, the 20 pin method for each of those blog posts. You've then written 20 or created 20 pins that all talk about what they're going to get out of the blog post if they click over. So the graphic on the pin has some words on the picture that has some words that say, "Does this suck?" or "Do you want this?" And then the headline says, or the title says, "Do you want more of X and less of X, Y? Then this is for you." And then the ad copy, the description, says something even more, like maybe it's a piece of the blog post with "read more here." Okay. And so you put it out there and you have maybe 4 or 5 or maybe 8 or 10 of your boards are optimized so that this pin is going to work perfectly on all of them. So you drip it out over a period of a while because you got 20 pins and 8 boards. It's going to fire on through something called Tailwind. They're going to fire slowly, not all at once. And they're just going to kind of fire out there into the feed, depending on when this time is right. And say your client's name is Alice. Okay. Alice is struggling with her wife. And she is at her wit's end. They're not communicating. The kids are seeing all the fighting. They're like desperate for help. She's on Pinterest just to self-soothe because women do use things like this to self-soothe when they are emotional.
Okay.
So she's on Pinterest and she's scrolling, and Pinterest can tell based on the things that she's already clicked on. Like she's clicked on some really sad, shitty, memey things like quotes and stuff. And maybe she's clicked on a few other blog posts. And so Pinterest shows her this pin that you made as this relationship specialist that said, "Hey, if you're struggling with this, I can help." So she clicks on it. She reads it. She takes action. She tries it. And it works. She's like, "Ooh, I want that. I want more of that. How do I find out more about this woman? That tip was amazing. I want the rest of my..." And then they started fighting maybe the next day. And she's like, "Okay, I want the rest of my marriage to be rescued like that last night was. Let's fix this permanently. Let's go work together." That is the ideal scenario when it comes to Pinterest. And that's how it works.
Got it. I actually understand that, surprisingly.
Good.
So that's interesting. And if Pinterest has 70 million active users and less than 500,000 business users, right? So that is a pretty low percentage. Why do you think that is?
Because everyone is like you, or most people are like you. Most online entrepreneurs are like you. They don't really understand it. They're already overwhelmed with all of the other social media things that they're doing. They don't get that it is more of a search engine than a social media platform. And they don't get that they can really spend about an hour for each piece of content in order to create the pins or create the pin graphics, upload them into Tailwind, create all the titles and the description and whatever, duplicate it 20 times, and then post it into Tailwind so that Tailwind schedules it and Bob's your uncle.
So, question, what do you use to make your graphics?
I personally use Canva. They have it's a really good, their free version is very robust for what they offer. And I love it. It's got an awful lot of really good templates for Pinterest, which is good. and their ability, they can now, because video pins are becoming a thing.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Is this just static images, or are there video clips? And if there are video clips, what are the specifics about that?
Okay. They do have video clips now. They can be anywhere from a single bop on something, like just something going or all the way up to a full 30-second full-on video of something. Either you or, there's a lot of static ones in Pinterest where it's just like, wheat sheaves flowing in the breeze kind of dealy, just something to catch your eye. And Pinterest does reward video pins. They get more traction than regular pins, which is nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So Pinterest then is trying to compete with Snapchat and like Facebook is like, they're trying to encourage these videos, these user-made videos?
I don't think so. I think it's more along the lines of they're trying to be innovative and interesting. And the little short videos are innovative and interesting. There was it called Boomerang back like 4 or 5 years ago? It was really popular briefly. And that's the kind of idea of the Pinterest videos. Is they're really, really short. They just kind of go whoop, 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 whoop.
I still have, by the way, just so you know, I still have Boomerang on my phone. I don't use it. I've had it for like 5 years. I did one Boomerang video when it was snowing, like where it just kept looping. And I thought that was cool. And that was it.
And yet you still have it.
And yet I still have it. But I forgot I had it until you just mentioned it. And I was like, I think I have that on my phone. And I was looking for my phone and I was like, oh, there it is.
Here it is. So yeah, they're very short. They're just mostly to get your attention because right now, again, because it's new and because there aren't that many active business accounts that are actually using Pinterest correctly, there aren't that many video pins out there. And Pinterest is really pushing them. So if you have video pins, you tend to get more traction than without.
And can you have a mix of video and static on your board?
Yes. In fact, that is my second little hack. After you've got your 20 templates, and you've animated them all. So they've either got a video or they've got some kind of element that goes boop, or in Canva now you can also make all of the elements kind of slide in or bounce in or do fun things. You can download them both as MP4s and as JPEGs, and then you just doubled your pin count for each piece of content.
Wow.
So
and
instead of 20, you got 40.
Just so you know that I wasn't lying. I'm a horrible technology person. I see the app and I was like, I probably should use that more now that I feel guilty. Like I should be using it. But I'm so excited. I swear to God, as soon as our podcast is over, I'm going to open up Pinterest and I want to explore it.
Perfect. Reach out if you have any questions. I'm available.
I will. Not that I'm rushing you. I'm just saying I never had that interest before. I actually wrote a lot of notes and I'm curious. And the thing is I will totally attribute my massive success as a pinner or Pinterester to you. And because it all started here.
It's a pinner. Pinner is the right term. Yes, we are pinners.
And by the way, I just guessed at that.
Good job. High five.
Oh my God. This is actually more fun than I even thought. I thought, how boring is going to be talking about Pinterest? I don't even know what it is. And I've actually thoroughly enjoyed myself. And now I feel educated.
I'm glad. I'm so happy. That's my purpose, to educate people. So
let's do this. I want to know a little bit more about what you do for clients, right? So I saw a little bit about it, but let's say I was your client, right? And I know nothing, right? You're starting, I'm a blank slate. So what could you do for somebody like me? You say, and I agree with you, there's a lot of entrepreneurs a lot of people like me that feel the same way. So you have a lot of potential clients out there. So let's say someone like me stumbles across and they say, "Oh my goodness, I want you to help me." Tell me what that looks like.
Okay. So I have a couple of different ways that I can help people. I can do done for you, where if you have a working funnel, I set up your Pinterest account. I get you ready, soup to nuts. We talk about keywords and SEO and what your board names need to be. And I do all the pinned templates and the board cover templates. And then on a monthly ongoing basis, I look after the account for you and just kind of check in with you once a month and see what you've got coming up that we might want to promote on Pinterest.
And do you guide people, and do you say, "Hey, this is what you need to be putting on your board," or "This isn't the right way to place this"?
Well, if I'm doing it for them, then I'm doing that. So then I don't have those conversations. We just have conversations about, this month I want to focus on my membership community, or this month I really want to focus on my free challenge, or this month I want to focus on the program or the freebie or whatever.
The reason why I'm asking is I have a specific thing in mind that I'm curious about. One of the things that I want to do is increase our email list, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the call to action would be subscribe to our email list. Oh, really? That's gross.
Yeah. You want to give them something in exchange for your email list. So the call to action can't be just subscribe to my email list. The call to action needs to be sign up for my email list and I'll send you this amazing free thing.
Okay. By the way, I like the fact very much that you just got right to it, that is gross. There was no like beating around the bush or hey, let me be subtle about your feelings. Anything's like that almost made me spit out my coffee. But in a weird way, I sort of felt like that was awesome.
I'm no BS. I am,
I love that. And first of all, I love that. And second of all, I thought it was funny as hell. So, okay. So I get it. So you kind of want them to be on your subscriber list, but you don't want it to be so bland and like.
Well, here's the secret to online marketing nowadays is our email addresses are so inundated with spam and stuff that feels like spam that they're more valuable than gold at this point. And so you really have to give someone a reason, like you have to pay them to give you their email address.
So what would be a good example? Like what would be a good example of giving away something for free? Like let's say I went to you and I said, "Sherisse, I love you to death and I want you to handle this. And one of the things that I want to do is I want to increase my email list." Go. What do I do? How would I do that? Because that's a practical thing. And I'm pragmatic like that. So I'll say,
okay. So ordinarily, I would say you need to go talk to a funnel expert and have them work out what your free thing needs to be with you. And then create that funnel and make sure that funnel works before you come see me. However, if we were in this hypothetical situation and I was also being your funnel expert, because I am capable of that, I just don't like doing it.
Sure. This is just as an example. So I kind of.
Just for whatever. Okay. So I would say, what is kind of your most valuable thing that you share with people on a regular basis?
My show. Let's just say my show. Okay. That's the content that I create.
Okay, so maybe you save your top 10 episodes, and they can only access them behind an email paywall.
Got it.
So then it's like sign up for my newsletter and get premium access to these 10 episodes that were my greatest hits of all time. They are fantastic. There's something for everybody in here. Here's why you need them so badly. You're doing the salesy thing, right?
Okay. So let's say, for instance, like one of the things that I often thought about is like for one of the magazines, I'm just trying to walk it through in my head. Like one of my magazines, I could say, you get a free subscription. right? That has actual value, like $40 a year of value. So click here, and you can get a free subscription. And the other thing is, we do get a lot of free stuff. Like in all my companies, I always get stuff that people say, "Oh, give it away," or create a contest for it. Like, so one of the things that we do when I own a travel magazine, I publish a travel magazine. We get like weekend trips that CVBs or destinations give us, like to New Orleans or to Boston or to Key West or what have you, right? And it normally doesn't include airfare, but it's like the hotel, or sometimes it does include airfare. And, we can't go on all those trips, obviously. So I'll just put them out and I'll say, hey, sign up to be eligible to win this trip. So we get a whole bunch of signups, and then we do a random pick of emails, and that's the person that gets the trip. But we got 500 emails because of it.
Okay, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that is one of the limitations for Pinterest. And it is long-term, not short-term. And once you've released a pin, as soon as someone else saves it, it's out there forever and ever and ever and ever. And you never want to have something that that has a short-term expiry date or even a long-term expiry date. You want your pins, that URL, that link that you're providing, to always link to something, and hopefully it's that same something.
Gotcha. That makes total sense, because otherwise, once somebody wins, then you actually have to probably take the pin off, because it's not valuable to anybody else.
But you can't. As soon as someone else pins it, you've lost control of that pin. It's not like your Facebook feed where the content disappears. Yeah. As soon as someone else saves it, it's out in the world. It's in the wild. It's gone native. You can't get it back. You can't get the genie back in the bottle.
Gotcha. Yeah. Now that totally makes sense. I understand that now. So it's better to have something like what you were describing, a premium section that is always active, rather than have something that is...
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So maybe they're getting like a Patreon Lite access.
Sure.
Or something like that, or a behind the scenes something, sure. Or bloopers and outtakes or something.
Yeah, right? Like what do you call them? Gag reels. Outtakes and all of that. So you have access to all the gag reels. And God knows with my show, there's no loss of that, because I'm totally unsophisticated when it comes to creating my show. I'm just kidding. By the way, here's something that I'll share just with you. We did a sort of a different show last night. So this is kind of off topic, but I had a family emergency yesterday. It was a horrible day.
Oh goodness, I'm sorry.
Everything's fine now. It was just scary. It was like, that's how my day started. And so a friend of ours came over and he was saying, let's just do a podcast. And I was like, I don't want to do a podcast. And he goes, we'll do a podcast and you can pretend like we can have a special guest. And so we had a special guest, wink, wink. And it ended up being a comedy show, which is so rare for me.
Funny.
Few glasses of wine, lots of laughs. Next thing you know, it was hysterical. It's not live yet. I haven't even sent it to producer Nick, but I'm gonna send it. And Nick, when you get the final show, would you email the link to Sherisse? Because I think she would enjoy it. I hope you would enjoy it. And knowing your personality in this whole show, you will totally enjoy it.
Perfect. I'd love to see it. Thank you.
So listen, I don't know where this whole hour went, but can you believe we've been talking for an hour about Pinterest, no less?
I know. I do that all the time. I'm like, okay, really, I need to stop. I need to, make it shorter. But it's so... This topic that nobody knows enough about. So
I love your energy, and I love your sense of humor and all of that. It's clear why you're... If you're not, you should be super successful at what you're doing. And by the way, anything I can do to help you, please let me know. And I don't send this to everyone, but if you send producer Nick your email address, I will send you an official DJ Doran Show cup. And I have them in all sorts of colors. So we have yellow, blue, or pink, or white.
Awesome. Thank you.
In the last few minutes, Sherisse, I want you to tell the audience how they can find you, where they can go to follow you, how they can contact you. And I'm going to tell everyone right now that if you engage with Sherisse, you couldn't go wrong. I'm telling you, she has been wonderful, very knowledgeable, very insightful. It'll be money well spent to help you increase your Pinterest activity and hopefully be successful at it as well. I can tell you, as a skeptic and now a convert, I am going to try it.
Awesome. So yeah, they can find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Pinterest. My name is...
Do you know what the addresses or the links are, what they call?
Yes. Okay. So Sherisse, SHERISSE. So it's SherisseMarie.com is my website. You can get a freebie on there, which tells you a quick start success guide. You can look for me on all three of those social media platforms with the hashtag Sherisse Pins, all one word. And I'm around.
Your YouTube channel?
Sorry?
You have a YouTube channel too, right?
I do have a YouTube channel. Yeah.
Look at me, I'm marketing for you.
I know, Sherisse Pins. And that's kind of what I've used for everything. So my not the website, but for Facebook, my Facebook business page is Sherisse Pins. The YouTube channel is Sherisse Pins. And then on Pinterest, it's Sherisse Pins as well. So definitely check me out.
Sherisse, I have had such an enjoyable time and I've learned so much. I can't wait to try what you explained, and awesome. I will be sure to share with you my success.
Awesome.
And I know I will have it. And by the way, everyone, Sherisse has a ton of YouTube videos about all of the things that we talked about, and probably a lot more than that. And first of all, I didn't know that Pinterest was a search engine. So for all of you that don't know these things, if 70 million active users and only 500,000 business users, this is your opportunity to stand out in the crowd instead of being lost in an ocean of Facebook users and Instagram users. Absolutely. So why wouldn't you do that? And if you need help, Sherisse is the one to guide you.
Yes. And we did talk about the done for you, but I also offer a done with you program where over a 6-week period, I take you and only 9 other people. I do 10 people at a time. And we walk through setting up your account from start to finish. And it's pretty great. I just finished the latest group here Wednesday night, and they're all like raring to go and having a lot of fun with it. So
excellent.
It's awesome.
Sherisse, I've so enjoyed getting to meet you, and I really enjoyed our conversation. I hope you'll come back at some time in the future, and by then I'll be a Pinterest pinner extraordinaire.
Awesome. I'd love that. Yeah, definitely.
Take care. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.